Sam Kuperman of Global Basketball TV here with Rick McCormick, veteran head coach at the collegiate level, actually a national championship winning coach at Cedar Valley College in Texas, right now with Southern Christian University. He's here for the final day of Session B to take in the action. Rick, how do you feel about what you've seen so far in terms of what's been on the court?
Well, Sam, it's been really interesting. There's some talented kids here. There's some kids that can definitely play in different levels of overseas competition. Some already have. There's a guard out there now that spent some time in Poland last year, with the Windsor Express team. The Southern Stars team has a guard that spent some time in China in NBL, which is a good level league. So there's some guys that have had jobs overseas, and many others that can get jobs overseas. And particularly, many times, Sam, when you come to one of these events, it's very guard dominated. There's some pretty good size here. There's some good 6'9", 6'10" kids, and it's a little easier, internationally. There's always American player limits or foreign player limits of 2 to 3, depending on the league. So it's a little easier for those big guys. It's good to see a lot of the 6'9", 6'10" kids here with little ability, because those guys, they're going to all be able to get jobs.
So when you're here, and I know you're coaching at the collegiate level right now, so you're not exactly looking for guys here to bring in. You're more so on hand just to watch a talent. You mentioned James Still, a guy here that's on Windsor Express, unfortunately not playing today. But just in terms of a talent evaluator, which you are as well, what do you look for when you're looking at talent to bring in?
Well, I think the number one thing, James, is you look for someone that does at least one thing extremely well. James Still, who played for us last year, yesterday is the example. I didn't think James had a great offensive game, but James led both teams in rebounding and had 13 rebounds. Now, if you're 6'9", 6'10", and you can really run the floor, which he looked great running the floor yesterday, and he had 13 rebounds, I think there's promise. If it's a perimeter guy, if he's a knockdown shooter and comes out here and knocks down 5 threes, that's a specific skill. If a guy is a great handler with great quickness, and it's great if you have 3 or 4 of those things, but if a guy does one thing exceptionally well, I think that's the first thing we look for, and that's, because when you start to talk to franchises overseas, they all want the 6'10" great rebounder, but if you say I got a knockdown shooter, I got a guy with high level quickness, those things, one great skill, and answer your question.
And the final thing here, Rick, as we get set to start the second half, why Global Basketball? I know you're here to watch James in part because you had coached him last year, but what makes this event special to you in terms of what you've seen?
Well, it gives kids an opportunity. There's nothing more exciting than seeing young people that are hungry. A young man that's a guard that just saw me and came up and started talking and brought me his resume, played at Salem International in West Virginia. This is an opportunity. There's kids in here from high major places, but there's a lot of small college kids, and they're hungry. And I think the global basketball, this camp and this whole situation gives some kids that are eager and hungry an opportunity, and some smaller college kids a shot and a look.
All right, Rick, we'll let you get back to watching the game. Thank you for joining me here.
Sam, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.